Hey there, everyone. Before we get into today's conversation, we wanted to ask you a quick favour. I know, we're trying to learn more about who's listening to More Than a Score. Whether you're a parent, educator, or just someone figuring out your own pathway, we want to make every episode as relevant as possible to you. So, we've got a really short survey, literally 10 seconds, 2 questions. And as a thank you, we're putting everyone who completes it into a $100 prize draw, which we'll announce live at the end of April. The link's in the show notes if you'd like to help us out, and thank you in advance.
I feel like I have done so much more than a lot of my friends have, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, that they haven't gone and travelled and done a lot, but I've created that I can do that, and I'm absolutely loving where I'm at the moment with all of it.
Have you ever felt like school just wasn't built for you? Not because you weren't capable, but because the way you think, connect and show up didn't quite fit what was being measured. In this episode of More Than a Score, we sit down with Ellie Pascazio, a makeup artist, business owner and traveller who has built a life on a different path, one of connection, people skills and creating experiences that matter. At school, Ellie would be the first to say she wasn't academic. She didn't love the study, she found it hard, but what she did love was people. The conversations, the energy and the social side of school. And what's powerful about Ellie's story is she didn't try to become someone she wasn't. She leaned into what she was good at, building relationships, making people feel good and creating moments that matter. From starting her business in a corner of her house to becoming part of people's biggest life events, Ellie has built a pathway that reflects her values of flexibility, travel, connection and kindness. This conversation is for the student who doesn't feel academic, the parent trying to understand their child's strengths, and anyone wondering if success has to look one way, because Ellie's story is a reminder you don't have to fit the system to build a life that works. Welcome to this episode of More Than a Score.
I had the person come and she said that I needed to work on not sounding like a bogan. I need to go to and get and have enunciation classes. So I need to better enunciate. So I completely relate to when I hear my voice. I'm like, is that what I sound like? Okay.
Well, we would make a great team because I am shocking at my pronoun.
Is this the offshoot podcast? We just call it Bogan Voices.
The two bogans. Take on the potty. Yeah, it's not a bogan. Yeah. She never has been.
Yeah. See,
I think I'll take that as a compliment. I think I'm just being excluded. Too articulate.
Never.
Welcome to Two Bogans, everyone.
Two bogans and a lady.
Two bogans and a lady. Oh,
Ellie, I love
a special series. Are you in podcasting? You seem like you've done this before.
Take it away, Ellie, at this point.
Yes. No, I remember really.
She's not called me Laura really yet.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I call her Longs, but I.
Weird for me.
Can't call me Laura.
No, I can't. It's weird. Even over text. Say bit.
Yeah.
Hey, bit. All right. Ellie Pascazio or Pascazio, depending on parli italiano.
Sì.
Un po' parlo.
Un poco.
Oh, sì. So Ellie Pascazio, charismatic connector, focused on kindness. Laura said that you fill up a room with light. So I've got filler of light in a room.
You are.
Makeup artist, deceptively tenacious businesswoman, traveller and adventurer who is very open to challenge, person that does not go to a 10-year reunion, and a thriver of Pitt's English classes. Ellie, it's lovely to have you on More Than a Score.
Thank you so much for having me.
I told you it's good.
That was really good.
Yeah.
It's pressure. If you're like, it's going to be really good. Then if she's like, oh, I don't know about that. That was pretty.
Have you been described in those ways before, Ellie?
Filler of light in a room. I remember one of the first things when Laura spoke about you, she said she comes into the room and it just feels lighter.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's true. It's true. You just like there's something really infectious, not in a negative way, but like there's like something really like bubbly and light and excitable about you. It's a lovely thing.
Thank you.
Ellie, highly contagious and infectious. That's what we'll say.
The right way.
In all the right ways. Absolutely right. Ellie, so one of the things we do when we start the episodes is, so we say when you think back 10 years ago for the end of school,
yeah,
were you happy with your score?
I was really happy with my score because I got a score.
Yeah.
And no one in my family thought that I was going to complete my exams. And I wanted to prove
including yourself at some point.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not going to do my exams. Take the easy way out. And I said to myself, no, I'm going to dig deep and complete my exams. So I started to knuckle down probably 2 seconds before all of the exams. And I was happy with my score because I got a score.
Yeah, talk us through the moment when was it via computer, text, mobile phone? Like, how did you find out your score? Talk us through the moment when you saw it and you were like,
I remember it so vividly. I was sitting on mum and dad's bed the morning when the text came through and I was like, this score is going to be so good. I was so convinced because I'd only knuckled down, started studying a little bit just before exams. And I don't know why I thought it was going to be good.
So tell me, what does good mean to you? What did you think?
Oh, I thought I'd at least get over 50.
Right.
And when I opened the text, I remember it was such a mixed emotion for me because I thought I was going to do a little bit better than I did. But then I always would come back to, no, I actually gave that a crack and any score is good for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 43.8 or something. Yeah.
It's crazy how people always go to the detail. Like they're like, I think it was like 0.72.
Yes.
But everyone sort of remembers it. And I don't know if we've had a guest that's ever said, yeah, like I was 100% happy with that. Like they always say something like you said of, oh, it might have been nicer just slightly high. Like I think regardless of whatever they got, which is amazing. But I interrupted you. Like talk us through. So you're sitting on your mum and dad's bed. You see it, it pops up. Then what do you think?
It pops up and I was thinking, oh, that's a bit lower than I thought. But also it's a score. So good on me. Like I was so happy with myself and mum and dad was so happy that I even just gave it a crack because they were really like, just do what you need to do to get through really because I was never really academic. So they were always very much do the exams, don't do the exams, we don't mind.
They could see that it was just sort of that start, like it's just a point in time and there's things ahead of you anyway.
Yeah. And I have older twin brothers and they were always in my ear like, come on, Al, like you could do it. And, they'd say funny comments like, oh, no, there's no way you're going to do your exams. And I was thinking, I'm going to prove you wrong here. I'm going to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to know. So what were the things, because you lit up just before when you were talking about getting the score and the fact that you got a score. Mm-hmm. That sounds like you went through a big shift where you were like, I'm not sure, but actually, no, I'm going to knuckle down. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to give it a crack and do it. What helped you or motivated you to stick to it?
I think my brothers, honestly, because we do give each other so much stick and they were always like, no, there's no way. There's just no way you're going to do this. And I'm like, no, I am. I'm going to do it. And I think so many people in my family and all of my friends didn't think that I was going to do it. I think they thought that I'd just go the easy way out. And I was like, no, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm going to sit down and complete every exam. And I did that.
And you told me a funny story the last time I saw you about a bet between you and your brother.
Yes.
Yeah, so tell us about that.
It was a bit of a silly bet, but my brother Charlie said, I will give you most of my life savings, which wasn't a lot at the time because they were out of school at this point, if you beat my score. And I was like, done. I was like, absolutely. Yeah. That's a lot of money for me at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, that's when I started to come into you and say, Pete, I know you're jail.
Did you tell her that bet had happened then at the time?
I know. She told me recently and it was so funny because she's telling me this story giggling because I think you started to look like you were really studying and Charlie was like, oh, I think I'm going to lose my money. And Ellie's like, there was never a chance he was going to lose his money, but bless him. I had him foiled for a little bit. It was so good.
I know. We still laugh about that to this day. Even though it was 10 years ago, Charlie's always like, oh, I remember I started sweating a little bit, thinking, oh my gosh, Ellie's really getting into the books and I've never seen her do this.
Yes.
And I remember so vividly, X Factor was my favourite show at the time of Year 12 and I would never, ever after school study. I'd always be watching X Factor. And I remember Mum saying, can you just at least pretend that you're doing something in the ad breaks?
Yeah.
Like, please.
Yeah.
And when you think of your time at school, so it might not have been jumping into the books per se or like the studying.
Yeah.
Because some people, they love that.
They,
What were the things, so the listener can get to know you and your experience at school, what were the things that you just loved about school? Because it's a weird, unique time, those years, right? What was it that you loved?
It's really strange for me when I look back because I did not really enjoy school, but I enjoyed the social part of school and being around people, which I think is where I thrive even to this day. I would never take days off. If I was sick, I'd try and like get myself together to go to school because I do like a routine. But yeah, I think I just enjoyed the social part of it and being around my friends, but I didn't actually enjoy all the classes and study and all of that.
And I still remember in year 12 because we had this conversation around, I knew you weren't particularly academic. I knew English of all the subjects probably wasn't even your favourite.
And Laura, sorry, just to jump in, just for the people that are listening, so to help them get the connection between you two, what was the connection that you two had?
So year 12 English teacher.
Okay.
And I'm sure you said this already.
I can't remember if
Okay. So
I can't remember if it was just in year 12.
Yes,
Did you
it was
only
always-
teach her in year 12?
Ellie is year 12 English teacher, but also I was the choreographer for productions and Ellie was in my dance troupe. And then in like, I feel like year 9 and 10 maybe?
Yes.
Around then.
Shaker.
Okay,
Yes.
mover and shaker. Were you a hip hop choreographer? Because Ellie, is that why you're now doing hip hop dancing, Ellie? Is this?
Well, yeah. Yeah, not to walk in there and say, this is for you, Pete.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, everyone, on the socials. We're going to have some wonderful dance clips.
Smooth.
Absolutely. Laura's also going to choreograph some things. Sorry, Laura. I've completely tangented this.
That's okay. I just remember saying to you at the start of the year, where are you headed? And you were saying, I just want a career eventually that makes people feel good. And for you, I remember you looking at massage, makeup, that kind of beauty industry. And you were pretty clear, like that's where you want to head. And the whole goal that underpinned that was that you wanted to make people feel good. And I thought that was such a lovely message.
Absolutely. I feel like I've always been like that. Making people feel good and making them smile and laugh has just been such a big thing for me. Like even my dad said when I was born, like she's going to be crazy, like she's going to be the best. And I'm like, that's how I want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask, the fact that you weren't academic, did that impact your self-esteem at any point?
Never.
Okay, so talk me through that. Why do you think that? Because there would be some people, in fact, I know we've spoken to a lot of people who still carry an element of shame because they either didn't achieve their potential or they weren't considered academic, but you never had that.
Never.
And you always walked into the room and you're like, this is what I've got to offer. Like you were really clear about this is what my strengths are, these are not what my strengths are. And we would talk about, like I would sit down with you and we'd write sentence stems together to get you to start going because you're like, I don't even know where to start.
I know.
How do I get an essay out? So you were never kind of shy about needing that extra support.
No. And you know what the funniest part of this is? English was my best score.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And you got higher than what you thought you'd get, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a goal of you like, I just want to get 25.
Yeah. And I...
Excited.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
So cool. Super proud.
So talk us through when you think of that. So you love the social side of school, and then you were saying off air, if it's all right for me, mention the thing about the balloons and the party organising.
It's funny, yeah.
So it sounds like that plays to your strengths as well. Do you want to just fill in the people for the listener? What did you organise as a class party, an illegal class party?
Yeah, it was very naughty.
What did you do at the end of the year?
Well, it was like our last English class for year 12. And we just organised food and balloons and just like an end of an era party, kind of. And it was so good. Even though we weren't allowed, we were being naughty.
And did I hear that Pitt closed the blinds so that people didn't know a party was happening?
She did.
So you guys sound like a great team. So Ellie's bringing the social side, bringing people together, event planning, management, getting everyone excited, all the balloons, all the food, people turn up, and then Pitt is in charge of closing the blinds and making sure the party can happen.
We were undercover.
Laura, is there anything you'd like to say about this? Do you remember the class party?
Like they'd gone to a lot of effort. Like it wasn't just like a couple of balloons. Like there was platters and there was balloons and there was streamers. I'd always write them all a handwritten note or card, and I would have like a kind of exam pack that I'd put together for them. So I had those sorts of things, but again, because I'm probably a bit of a rule follower, it's like I didn't want to create the big party because we'd be getting emails all week about it from administration saying you can't have a party. But then I got there.
It's just a gathering. It's not a party, guys.
And then I got there and the kids, I shouldn't say kids, the year 12 students had done it. And I was like, well, I wanted to be protective of the fact that they'd gone to all of this effort to celebrate our class together, our final class together. So I was like, close the blinds, it'll be fun, and then it was lovely. It was lovely to have that celebration and to have you guys at the centre of it too.
Absolutely. And we got away with it.
We did. We did.
When when we sent you the pre-pod form, we asked about 3 words that describe education. So we don't use the word school when we do it. We said education. Do you remember the 3 that you put down? If not, it's fine. I'll read them out to you.
Well, I remember sitting and mulling on that for a while, actually, because I wasn't, like, part of me wanted to put boring, mind-numbing, all of those.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I think one was necessary.
Yes.
And one was important.
Yeah.
Which I do stand by because I think school and education is very important. But it's funny because I feel like a lot of the things I learned in school are not the things that I use every day now. Like my people skills, you can be smart in so many different ways. Forgotten what the last one was.
You had down hard.
Yeah, because I did. I found it really hard.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Ellie, imagine that you could have created your own Year 12 experience based on the skills you now have and that you use all the time. What would those classes have been, do you think, if you could have made your own
parties?
So like social or events planning?
Yeah, events.
We were talking about this, Dan and I, about the pre-pod form and how you said it's like it took me a week to fill it in. It was really challenging for me to sit down and work out exactly what I wanted to say. And again, it goes back to this idea that we only assess people in such a small way.
Yeah.
Like if I could, we can have this conversation. We're going to hear so much more from you than you would ever be able to put down in a form because that's not your method of communication, your best method of communication.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it was really hard. I found it hard to fill that in.
No, I'm really fascinated with the Ellie course because I think like I'd sign up for it, right? So if it was party planning, event management, so in the work that you do as a makeup artist right now, because I think for any listeners out there, so they're either someone that's just finishing school, in school, or they're a parent of someone that's maybe a young person. You said people skills and social skills are such a strength of yours. What is it in the last 10 years that has like just constantly you found is a real strength and like a really specific example of the social skills or the people skills that you draw upon?
I think just working with people, like that's really important thing for me, always being around people. And that's why I've got this part-time job now, because as much as my business allows me to be around people and around clients, I still need to be out in the community because that's so important to me. Because it does get a little bit boring when you're stuck in a salon all day. I think just being out in the community and talking to people and meeting so many different people is so interesting to me because everyone's got a story and you just don't know what someone's going through. And you can get to the bottom of that within minutes of speaking to someone. Just making the effort to ask how someone is and how their day is going and
actually want to hear the answer.
Yeah, and actually want to hear the answer rather than just asking it just because you feel like you have to.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the feedback you then get from your clients, because if I'm going to see someone, so I'm not very loyal to my hairdressers, right?
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah, sorry. I heard someone describe it as cats and dogs. They said there's different clients, cats and dogs. Dogs are the ones that keep coming back. They're really loyal and the cats just sort of go around. So they called me a cat. But if I had someone like you that was going to talk to me and actually listen, that's why I don't bounce around, because I'm really selective of the person.
Yeah.
What's the feedback that you've got from your clients or the people that you work with?
I've had so many people say at the cafe, it is so lovely walking in and seeing such a bright smile and someone making the effort to speak to you. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, isn't that normal? I just don't understand how people don't do that. Just being happy and bubbly and having people say how nice it is to see that.
Yeah. You've always been like that. There is something that is, people are drawn to you. You are very charismatic. You are very confident in who you are. I still remember you talking about your mum during those times at school, even when you had a bit of a downtime. Like, she was so beautiful at sitting with you and saying, life is the ups and the downs, and I can't take the downs away, but I'll sit here with you and I'll be with you.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me that years ago, and I was like, whoa, what a beautiful sentiment for your mum to make you feel like everything you're going through, everything you are is exactly who you need to be.
Absolutely. I think it's a testament to my parents with the way I am and my brothers. They have been incredible. They've always just been so supportive and just let us do what we want to do and never disappointed in that, which I think is really important, because some kids are just so stressed and have so much pressure from their parents, and whereas my mum and dad are just really, we know you're good kids, we know you've got good hearts, and that's all that matters for us. So yeah, it's pretty special.
I think it is. I think it's really special. Yeah.
And I think too, because the reason I was asking, Ellie, thanks for those, I know I sort of put you on the spot around like the feedback and the skills, but I just think it's so interesting because you are naturally someone that really engages people. And I've seen you in the cafe. And then we've also met previously in a gym, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Gym.
And I remember, so we had a chat, and the reason that I was asking more about those skills is because you seem to do that really naturally. You seem to draw people in. And so the big thing that we're hearing with jobs or things for young people to move forward to is like social skills and people skills are really critical. And so listening to you, it sounds like you say bubbly, you choose to like engage with people, you choose to ask like really thoughtful questions and actually be genuinely curious to hear them.
Yeah.
And then you're also really good, I'm imagining, at remembering names, like just welcoming people, bringing them into the space.
Yeah.
Like
Always.
and
I always remember people's names and they love it.
don't they? So
Love it.
because they're really seemingly small things, but it adds up to a really big shift, right? With
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. And I know how I feel when a customer remembers my name. That makes me feel really good. So I can only imagine, how they feel. A customer came in today and said, "Hi, Ellie, like, how are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's really nice. You've remembered my name. I've made enough of an impact on you to remember my name," which is so important.
I'd love to move into the journey post-school. So you graduated high school, you got the score, and then you moved into, I'm pretty sure you did like waxing and massage as well, and then makeup. Is that correct? Can you correct me with what was the pathway in terms of the skills you developed? Because I know you did a number of courses.
Yeah, I started my beauty therapy course as soon as I finished school. I was 18 at the time, I think, 17, 18. And that took me about 18 months, 3 days a week, which is where I met some of my best friends actually to this day, which has been really cool. Got my first beauty job from work experience. Yeah, just kind of got different jobs along the way. And then studied in Melbourne to do makeup for an extra 3 months. And then COVID hit and I wasn't happy in the job I was in at the time, and I thought, this is such a good time to create my own space. I've got the time to do it. I'm at home constantly. So I did. I put my mind to it and I created my Instagram page. I created my salon space, got it off the ground, really.
Where did your clients come from?
Just word of mouth. It just took one. And then I just felt like it grew from there. I did think about that the other day. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I'm out doing weddings and such big events. And it started just from the little corner in my house. I didn't even have a room at the time.
Yes. And photo shoots. Like, you're doing really incredible stuff, Ellie.
Yeah. I'm part of people's biggest days of their lives with their weddings. And it is really special.
It started just in the corner of your house in a room.
Yeah. And it's funny we speak about this actually, because one of my clients on Saturday came in to get her makeup done and she was my first ever client. And I said to her, "Do you remember when we were over in that corner?" And it was so dodgy. I was like just in the corner of Mum and Dad's place. It wasn't dodgy, but it was just
Compared to what you were imagining. Yeah.
that's what I'm doing now. She even said, how crazy where you are now from where we were back then. And she's still coming to me to this day. So that was really cool.
And I mean, we've got to say, like, we were supposed to do this podcast a week ago and you had to cancel because you had too many clients being like, Ellie, we need you now.
Yeah.
You know, so you are pretty sought after with your loyal client base.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
When I was reading your form too, the idea that you always knew you wanted to create a flexible life. Dan's on there too.
That's what I had too, Laura.
Yeah.
But I actually don't think that's very common. And we actually had a guest on previously who was saying that they at 40 created this flexible life that they've always wanted, but never gave themselves permission to have. So I find it really interesting that you knew early that you wanted to be able to live a flexible life at such a young age. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't come to till a lot later. So what is it about freedom, flexibility that's always been really attractive to you?
I think I've always worked to live. I've never lived to work, ever. I'm not the type of person that needs a full-time job, make lots of money to be happy. I just want to make enough money and enjoy the simple things. Because I don't know, I've never been a career-driven person. I know I run my own business and I'm driven in that sense, but, you know, not to make it a full-time thing. That's a part-time thing for me, 3 days a week. And then I have a casual job 3 days a week that I can take time off when I need. I love travel. I love the freedom. I love being outdoors. And to be able to have that when I want is great.
Help me understand how you've set that up, because that sounds so great. Like, you love travel and you've created that for yourself. Help me see really clearly, how have you set all that up? And when did it start? When did you have your dodgy corner with your first client to now? Because as you've just been talking about, again, you're breaking out in a big smile. How long has that been since that first client?
Oh, that's a good question. I reckon 5 years maybe?
Yeah.
5-6 years.
Yeah. Did you always know, were you always aiming for that 3-day, always aware, I'll start a business and keep it sort of part-time so that I can go travel, or keep it busy enough so I can always still travel though?
Well, I think I have the ability and the skills to be able to build my business up full-time, but I don't have the, motivation maybe, because I am not career-driven at all. And I never have been, and neither have my brothers, neither have my mum and dad really. We all just want to earn enough money to be able to go and travel and do all the things that we want to do. I just couldn't think of anything worse than being focused on money. I'm only focused on money when I know I've got a goal of I want to go away and I need this amount.
Gotcha. So that's really helpful. So to help work out how you've done this, you've been clear on what it is you want to use the money for. And then you've sort of worked backwards to say, what is it that I need to earn, or the number of clients I need to have, the number of things I need to do so that I can get to this goal? Is that the way that you've sort of approached it?
Much. I've always been a good saver as well.
Yeah.
I've never...
But this is the other thing. So no, because I think, again, like any listener, majority of people are actually living beyond their means. So it's a really important skill that you have in a discipline.
Yeah.
Is to not just go blow everything. So how do you make sure that you do save and you do stay disciplined with that?
Work and knuckle down, and I just somehow, and also I lived at home for a while, I've only just moved out, and moving out wasn't my priority at the time. Traveling, making experiences while I'm young was. So I, put moving out on the back burner and stayed at home and really hustled. Only spend within my means though, because my dad he's always said to us, only spend what you have. Never get a loan out for a car, only get a loan out for a house if it's going to increase in value. He's always said, only spend what you have. And I remember so clearly being on a Kentucky tour when I was 19. I was on my first ever trip to Europe, and I met all these girls on the bus and they were saying, hey, we got loans out to come here and everything. And I'm sitting there going, what? This is so weird to me, because Dad has always said, you are not to borrow money and buy things that you cannot afford.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, because so you've got this really great financial literacy, which is a really big gap in Australians. So a lot of people don't have it, where like good debt versus bad debt. So even your awareness of there's certain things that you wouldn't get in debt for because they're going to go up in value, whereas you're like, no, I'm not going to go into debt for that.
Yeah, because everything that I've done, all the travel I've done, everything I've bought has been just me working hard. And I think some people get themselves into a bit of trouble with that. They live beyond their means and they do things and buy things they can't afford. And we've always been told that try your best not to do that. So we've all been pretty good with that, I think.
I think it's really interesting, though, that you are very clear on your priorities in terms of where your money should go, how much time you're willing to save to do these things, and not feeling like, well, I want it now. Like, you're actually willing to wait. You're willing to put things in place and go, I'm actually going to go there. I need to do this work. And it also seems to, like, the kinds of jobs that you're doing, which is in beauty, makeup, hospitality, they're jobs that if you go overseas, you could still work in those industries too. Like, you've actually really set yourself up quite beautifully to be able to make money, have the adventures, have the flexibility.
Yeah. And that was the big thing with makeup. I can do that anywhere, you know. I can move interstate and do it. Obviously, I'll be starting again with clients and all of that, but I can go and get a beauty job. I can go and do makeup anywhere. I can go and work in a cafe anywhere, which I've got those skills. Yeah, set up a free life, which is so important to me. I love it. I just think that all of the experiences we have when we're not working are so important, because a lot of people get caught up in careers, and it always shocks me when I meet someone and it's just work, no play. I'm like, that would seriously drive me nuts. I don't know how anyone does.
Yeah. A lot of people do, though.
I know, and that's the thing. It's crazy because you do meet a lot of people like that.
Yeah. Well, they talk about, like, it's the keeping up with the Joneses sort of aspect. People sort of buy or take on debt or do these different things for some comparison versus if you just live within your means, like, it can actually be a lot simpler than you think. There's so many, like, lessons of the Ellie course that I want to sign. Like,
I know.
You've spoken about, like, I know. I'm thinking, like, again, trying to bring it back for the listener, like, what you're articulating is this ability to build up relationships, people. Then you're also talking about, like, your financial management too. You've started up a business, so there's some things that you've learned that have been really helpful, you know, because when you're starting out, you're just sort of almost making up as you go, right? Are there some things that you've learned along the way that have been really helpful for you?
You know, there has been things along the way that I thought, you don't think about this when you do start up a business, but like your insurance and there's a lot more to it than I did think when I started. But I made sure that I obviously went about it properly and got my ABN and my insurance and everything like that. But there's just so much more to it than you think.
And at the start we said, you know, you're really open to challenge. So it seems like you've just been embracing this ability to just like, I'm going to give that a go. And it might be tricky, but I know I can overcome it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to do new things. And
we were talking before about how she wants to start pickleball, and you signed up to a hip hop class in Melbourne. And I said to Ellie, and who are you going with? And who did you say?
By myself.
Yeah. I think when you're smiling, you've got this big smile on your face because there's this real sense of self-awareness, confidence, and just a willingness to maybe not know everything. And I actually wonder too whether or not the fact that you weren't seen necessarily as academic and you had to put in effort, or you're kind of underestimated in places, whether that set you up for this kind of, well, I'll just give it a go. No one expects anything.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show up and see what happens. I wonder if that sort of served you in that way.
Well, I'm almost kind of glad that I'm not book smart. It sounds insane, but no one expects anything of you. I'm a good person. I've got a good heart. I make people smile, and that is all that matters to me. And I'm not expected to be the smartest in the class or know everything. But that to me is not important. If I can put a smile on someone's face, I've had a good day.
Well, it just sounds like it gives you that a bit of freedom.
Yeah, it does.
To be like, I get to decide because no one else has decided for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just not as much pressure, I find.
Ellie, you're much closer than Laura and I from when we graduated. So, like, you have some sort of closer connection to Year 12s. If you were there standing up at an assembly or chatting to some Year 12s, what would be the things that you would say to really focus on?
I would say to focus on being a good person, because I think in life that is the number one most important thing, is being a kind person. I would say focus on, even though I wasn't academic, I would say focus on your education and try and give it the best crack you can, because I think that's also really important. Like, if you can do it, do it. Make people smile and have fun.
You said too in year 12, just show up.
Yeah.
Like, show up, turn up. You're at your best. Like, don't shy away from the challenge, even though it might not be the easiest thing. And I think too, like, you found people to have in your corner at school, right? Like, you spoke about, you also spoke about Cam Hayes as well, who was your health teacher.
Yeah.
Just, I think having teachers that know who you are, know what your goals are, and are backing you the whole time. So what was it about Cam Hayes? And hopefully I should send this to him because he's brilliant.
Yeah.
What was it about him and your relationship with him that you remember?
Well, it was just kind of similar with you and Mr. Cook. Like, you guys all just said similar things. Like, if you show up and if you are the person that we can see, which is a good kid, you'll be fine. And that's just what I went off. I was like, all right, I'll show up and I'll do the best I can, try for you, then I should be okay.
Yeah, and you were.
Yeah.
What do you?
You've come out all right.
It definitely sounds like it. Like, what do you think schools need to do more of?
That's a really good question. I think maybe teachers in this day and age need to be better at adapting to kids' personalities. I don't know, because it was very similar with us. Like, you just knew what I was like, and that gave us a really good relationship. And I think some teachers are really hard on their kids, and which is also a good thing at times, but just adapting to what kids need. Because I just needed in that moment you to say, just show up and you'll be right. And I was like, okay, thank goodness for that.
I'm here, I'm doing it, I'm succeeding. This is success today.
But just adapting to that, like, because I remember teachers that were like, come on, Ellie, you know, get your head in the books. And, you know, I'm like, no, that just pushed me away. I'm like, nah, that's not me. So, yeah, I think just trying to understand how kids are.
Oh, Tom has just arrived.
Tom.
Hi, Tom Pitt.
Come on in. I said.
This is a special episode.
Yes.
Tom Pitt joining the couch.
Hello. I've not seen Tom in years.
Yes. Now, you said, though, success, it hasn't changed for you. That success has always been the same. It's all about being kind. I'd love to know, why is kindness so important in how you show up in the world? Come on, Tom, seriously, could he make any more noise?
I think now's a great opportunity for Laura to practice some kindness.
Yes. So I've just asked Ellie why kindness is so important in the way she shows up. So this is the answer. Come take a seat, Tom.
Because everyone should be kind. Kindness is the most, for me, that's what I look for in a partner as well. Like, someone that's kind to the core. We've always said that in our family. If you're kind to the core, it's fantastic.
It sounds like your parents and your family unit have really set you up with some really clear values.
Yeah, I think it's coming to say
this.
Welcome, Tom.
Kindness to the core.
Tommy, I actually have not seen you in about, how long's lived now?
8, 9.
9. I haven't seen you in 9 years.
Yeah, you'll grow.
Have you not seen Tom in 9 years? Wait, did you just say that?
Yeah.
We came and visited Livy when she was fresh.
Yeah.
Newborn.
Yeah, newborn.
Yeah. And there was a photo of me with her in my little beauty uniform.
Yes.
I think it's one, you passed that one over.
There was.
No, it's so lovely. Which is such, what a lovely privilege it is that we've been able to stay in contact for 10 years.
I know.
You've met my baby and you've met my husband, and
I know. It's
really
really
the
cool.
kids to the cafe. Like, what a privilege.
Yeah, it is really special.
Yeah.
When I told my friends, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going on a podcast tonight with my year 12 English teacher, and they're like, that is so random. and that's really cool that you guys have stayed in touch. Yes, it is. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I had a maths teacher. I've spoken about him before, Condonopoulos. So his name was Con and then Donopoulos. Yeah, Dino. But he was like that. So I got to see him years after I'd graduated, and I'd always wanted to say thank you to him. And I saw him on a tram on the way.
Did he stop you?
Yeah, I walked up. I was like, "Thank you so much. You were so great." And then I panicked, so I jumped off the tram. But then I've got
You'll stop.
yeah. I was like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." I was like, "Oh my god!" So I jumped off. But it was an idea. I think the reason I was saying that is around your point about like kindness, because I think kindness means lots of different things. Like we've got Tom Pitt here on the couch, and I've heard him, the way he talks about his workers is wanting to be kind to them, but it can look really different, right? Some people think kindness can be like being gentle or like not saying certain things. Yeah, exactly right. That's why I want to hear more about you when you say kindness to the core, because some people might hear that and go like, oh, it means like not really like pushing yourself or not doing certain things, but it definitely sounds like it doesn't mean that to you.
No, I think it's just treating people with respect and knowing that everyone's got stuff going on and everyone's at a different point in their lives, and we can't judge that. We've just got to be kind, because there's too many people that aren't kind in the world, and it kills me. I hate it. But, you know, everyone's got a story. Everyone's at certain points in their lives, and you don't know what people are going through. I think that's a massive one.
Massive. And to have that perception of the ability to think like that is a big quality that more humans should have.
Yeah. So?
Yeah. But that's what I think. I'm not sure we touched on it on my episode. I said I tell my kids every day before they go to school, what do you go to bed? What do you eat for me today? And start on kind.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Same as with in like the Navy SEALs and stuff. So they talk about like kind, or like I think loving each other or caring for each other. So it's really like the highest performers, they do that because they know by caring or loving people, it's like, but I'll actually do what I need to do to help you, but I'm also going to push you, and that's the way that I show it. And if you're not willing to be caring for other people, well, they don't want you in there, because otherwise if you can't look like you're caring for people, you can't earn trust.
Absolutely.
Which affects the whole team. So they need it. Well, we don't want you. We actually want you out there.
Yeah.
I want to know, I touched on it before about the family values. How did you know that those were your family values? Like, what were your parents saying it to you often? Were they living those things? Like, how is it that you kind of were able to leave the family unit and still be so connected to the family values?
I think because when we were growing up, consequences were consequences. And if we were out of line or if we were unkind at any point, not that we were unkind kids, but, you know, when you're kids, you say silly things. Yeah. Everyone's done it before. But it was never, what have they done? It was always, what have you done? So being responsible for your actions and being responsible for yourself. And I think all three of us kids have carried that on to this day. And I remember Mum and Dad would say, you do not know what someone is going through. And you can stand up for yourself. They're not, you know, I'm not saying that, but you got to be kind at all times.
And as you said, like standing up for yourself when it's aligned with your values and you're not being disrespectful or unkind to somebody else.
Yes.
That's still kindness. It's just being kinder to you, showing strength and being like, I'm not willing to accept this behaviour.
Yeah, definitely. And I am, as much as I do talk about kindness and stuff, I am a very strong woman, and I can say no when I need to and stand up for myself. I'm probably the stronger one out of the three of us, like my brothers. They're like, you know, if something needs to be done or something uncomfortable needs to be said, they're all like, Ellie, can you say that or can you do that? No, seriously. So it's not being so kind that you're a pushover, but I just think it's really important in life to know that everyone's going through stuff. Everyone's got their own stuff going on.
I remember working in a school where people would whinge about each other, and then I'd always say, well, has anyone spoken to that person that we're annoyed about? Oh, no. They weren't kind enough to go have the conversation with them.
Yeah.
To say, hey, when you keep turning up really late to all our meetings, that's causing us to stay back, so I don't get to see my kids go to bed. So instead of just going to chat to them and say, so it's really important that if we say we're going to turn up, you need to turn up.
Yeah.
So they're trying to be kind to the rest of the team by having that hard conversation, but they were too scared to do it.
Yeah.
And then once they did it, that person said, I had no idea. I was just needing to go have a coffee so they just come real. But then suddenly they realize that all the impact of them turning up late had this big flow-on effect. But it's just people weren't willing to be kind or strong.
And have
as you guys have said. Yeah.
Have uncomfortable conversations.
You wrote to, in terms of advice to parents, you said, if your child is kind and can make a difference, they will succeed. I'd love to know what kind of difference you think you're making.
I think I'm making a difference in making people happy and putting a smile on people's faces every day. And that makes me feel so good going to bed at night knowing that I've, made people smile. So I think I make a difference a lot in the community with my job, and obviously making people feel good with my business. So
on a pretty important day when they need to be feeling good, it's just that little bit of extra kindness or connection probably goes a little bit further, right?
A long way, absolutely. And you have to have that skill to be able to engage and make them feel comfortable and calm on their big day. If you haven't got that, I mean,
and people choose who they want in their space in those really vulnerable times. So you have to be able to make people feel safe and cared for. Consider, I know how much work you get to do. You must do that.
Yeah, definitely. I try my best.
We haven't said the name of the business. Did you want to do a little shout out or like a little plug for the business?
I'd love to. Makeup by Ellie Laura. Get on town. Yeah.
There we go. And what's the Instagram handle on the interwebs or the socials?
That is the Instagram handle at Makeup by Ellie Laura.
Ellie, what's something that we asked towards the end is what's one thing you're either looking forward to or working on?
More travel. More.
What's on your travel card? Because you've spoken about travel really matters to you, and you like adventure. What's on your wish list or your list of places to get to?
Southeast Asia next year. I want to do a fair bit of that, and maybe move into state. I've been speaking about if I'm, still single and free to do what I want.
There are some really good guys in WA.
And they're all really...
There's one less. Yes.
WA, they're bred differently over there. They are bred differently. Yeah. They're all so attractive. Wow. They are.
And strong and kind and funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, for all the listeners out there, Tom Pitt is from Western Australia. So he's just making sure that he can make it really clear.
No. That's so true. What? That's so weird you said that.
Go to Perth. That's where they're no.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what Laura found.
So Ellie, just clarifying. So you go to Southeast Asia and Perth.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
End up with her. And I'll FaceTime you when I'm there and say this one's for Tom.
Oh.
Now,
what about career-wise? What's next on the horizon?
It's a good question. I'm just cruising at the moment. I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing. Part-time business, part-time working for someone else. Got a good balance going on. I can't see myself changing it up really anytime soon. Maybe something will come up, I don't know, but
Any other areas to expand into, or any other sort of...
I mean, there's always areas to expand to, but I'm not really wanting to do that right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It just seems like you've created a life that is really sustainable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you're doing the jobs you really love to do. It's providing you with enough to be able to say, to then have it just feels like it's a really nice, sustainable existence.
Yeah.
It's impressive. That's good.
Thank you. Yeah, it is good. And I do have a really good balance of travel, work,
I just think in this age, it's interesting to have that because I think most people are seeking that at about 40. Don't you reckon, Dan? They've kind of done the hustle, they've done the things, they've done the corporate stuff or the climb the ladder. You're still looking for balance. Yeah, what's I mean? I actually find it interesting that you've crafted a life of balance at such a young age. I feel like
generally people have lived a life where they've had no balance that then have to sort of course correct. So I think it's impressive that you've already got that understanding that that's how you want to live your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I have done so much more than a lot of my friends have, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, that they haven't gone and traveled and done a lot, but I've created that I can do that. And I'm absolutely loving where I'm at the moment with all of it.
Thank you so much for coming on the pod.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
So lovely to love you.
it.
Yes.
Laura, do you want to try and do the crisp high five with Ellie? Okay.
Ready? We have to do a high five.
You got to make sure it's crisp though, Ellie.
Beneath or
Like this way, but which hand are you going? Are you left-handed?
yeah.
And you have to look at the always look at
No, I know, but you're going to make me go left. You should do it. You're left-handed.
Yeah, but I do it. I do it with Mariah. I'm ambidextrous. 1, 2, 3, let's do it. Oh, no, make it do better. Go good. Oh, no, you guys. Come. Yes. Yes.
Thanks, Ellie.